All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are on to fan favorites, shout outs, and rants. Susan, we're going to let you go last so you hear what everybody does. And I'm going to
Sure.
take the lead off spot. Then to Matt, then to Karen, then to Jonathan, and Susan, you'll bat fifth today. I'm going to shout out to Judge Matthew Barrett. He is the judge in Colorado who sentenced Tina Peters to 9 years in prison for election tampering. This was one of the great sentencing hearings of all time. Ms. Peters said, I'm not a criminal and I don't deserve to go to prison where other people committed heinous crimes. She then went on a muddled tangent about how the district attorney who filed the charges against her was implicated in a plot to get her ailing husband to divorce her. Judge Barnett responded, You are no hero. You are a charlatan who used and is using your prior position in office to peddle a snake oil that's been proven junk time and time again. But here's the money line for some people on this podcast. He also said, at the end of the day, you cared about the Jets, the podcast, and the people fawning over you. For those listening, you know who you are. Matt, what you got for us?
Tom, I am going to stick with the judicial branch of society, but I have a rant. I am going to complain about Judge Kathryn Mizelle, Kathryn Kimball Mizelle. She is a district court judge in the Central District of Florida, which I believe is Tampa. Judge Mizelle recently ruled that PTAM whistleblowers under the False Claims Act, that's unconstitutional. And she threw a case out. Never mind that the False Claims Act is nearly 200 years old. It was signed into law by President Abraham Lincoln. That qui tam lawsuits, which of course are when a whistleblower brings a lawsuit over fraud against the government on behalf of the government. Sometimes the government then joins those lawsuits. Sometimes it does not. But whistleblowers can bring a lawsuit under the False Claims Act looking to claim that some government contractor has overcharged the federal government. And Judge Mizelle said, nope, can't do that. That is unconstitutional because qui tam whistleblowers filing lawsuits are self-appointed special prosecutors, quote unquote, and prosecution only rests with the executive branch. So qui tam whistleblowers cannot exist. This is not a thing. The Supreme Court itself has already decided that, yes, the False Claims Act is constitutional. Yes, qui tam whistleblowers are allowed. Every other judge in the country who has ever considered this has also said, yes, qui tam whistleblowers are allowed and perfectly fine. But Judge Mizelle, who is all of 37 years old, who has virtually no legal experience, and who was therefore, of course, appointed by Donald Trump, who had a long history of appointing unqualified judges, she just took it upon herself to say, no, I disagree, and create this big mess. This is ridiculous. This is yet another example of these unqualified Trump judges making these off the wall legal decisions that have no resemblance to reality, have no respect for precedent, and fly against even the standard that Clarence Thomas has spelled out that a law should only be constitutional if it is in comportment with the nation's traditions and history. And like, guys, this law is nearly 200 years old. This is clearly in comportment with the nation's values and histories and traditions, but it doesn't fit what the Trumpist legal theory, the legal world now likes, which is to complain about special prosecutors, which is really what this is about. That's it. That she, very much in the mold of a fellow unqualified Trump judge who is down in Florida, Judge Aileen Cannon, also ruled that special prosecutors are unconstitutional, even though every other judge and every other appellate court that has considered it has already said, yes, they are. But we just have this infection of unqualified judges that Donald Trump stuffed into the federal judiciary. Judge Mizelle, in particular, was all of 33 when she made it onto the federal judiciary. She had been an associate at Jones Day Law Firm, had clerked a couple of times, including for Clarence Thomas, cited one of his dissenting opinions as evidence that, therefore, I should say special prosecutors are kind of like qui tam whistleblowers, so therefore it should be illegal. Enough with these off-the-wall judges making these off-the-wall rulings and screwing it up for everybody else. And Judge Mizelle is very much in that mold. So that's my tangent. That's my rant, and I am done.
What do you have for us, Karen?
I've got a Happy New Year wish to everyone and a relationship of the Jewish holiday of Rosh Hashanah to our compliance work and everything compliance. So on Tuesday evening, Jews around the world celebrated the start of a new year, a year 5785, which is supposed to measure the beginning of creation. Just as an aside, I went as part of my confirmation class. We visited ultra-Orthodox Hasidic community, and we had a chance to meet students and talk to the rabbi. My mom, by the way, sent me with a ham sandwich. That's how Reform Judaism we are. But in any event, the rabbi was asked, if we can measure the world to creation, how do you explain the fact that geologists can carbon date rocks to millions of years ago? And the rabbi, without missing a beat, said, if God could create an entire world in 6 days, you think he couldn't create a few million-year-old rocks while he was doing it? I like that because I think that for all of us, it's always trying to reconcile the facts we have at hand. But the kind of sad part about Tuesday night when I entered our synagogue is not only did I have to pass through a metal detector and a number of very wonderful police officers who were wearing bulletproof vests, but the head rabbi started off the service by saying, look, there are people around here with orange lanyards. If you see something, please say something. If you're concerned about your own security, please make sure you connect with one of them, which says a little bit about the state of the world. But Rosh Hashanah does kick off what we call the Days of Awe. It's the beginning of the year. It's a time for reflection. It's your chance to make good what might have gone wrong. And for all of us compliance officers, I think the obligation imposed by the concept of tikkun olam, that is to repair the world, is something, especially in this world, in this day and age, we all take on our shoulders. So I wish everybody, Jewish or not, a sweet and wonderful, safe, prosperous, healthy new year. And let's continue our work to repair the world.
Mr. Marks, what do you have for us today?
Yes, I'll echo Karen's sentiments on Shana Tova to all of my friends and family that are out there. Happy New Year. May it be a peaceful one, a healthy one, and a blessed one for everybody. My shout out is, I have a shout out and a rant quickly. Shout out to the Philadelphia Phillies for making it into the playoffs and wishing them good luck tomorrow night. Pick your favorite team. Hopefully they go far too. My wish is that Tom and I are sitting in the bleachers in Citizens Bank Park in several weeks. You hit Tom with his Astros hat on and mine with my Phillies hat on, watching our two teams play. My rant is to TSA. I do not know how in this earth that we live on that a guy sitting back in a chair watching what appears to be an X-ray image of these bags rolling in at hundreds of miles an hour can know if there's anything that's detrimental in those in your luggage or whatever that you're packing. I watched this the other day in amazement as to how sometimes the individual is attentive and sometimes the individual is not, and these things keep rolling through, only to be followed by a very nice gentleman who was a paraplegic in a wheelchair being patted down and screened for more than 35 minutes. So I don't get it. I don't understand it. It seems to be broken. It has to be fixed. I don't know how it's protecting any of us. Maybe it isn't, but it just seems to be broken all over the place.
Susan, you have our honored spot to end shout outs and rants. What do you have for us?
First, I'm going to say one thing to Jonathan, which is there's this thing called technology, Jonathan, and SAIC, where I used to work, kind of made a lot of those machines. And it's really not up to the guy or to sort of say, oh, that's a banana and not a gun or whatever it happens to be. Some of those machines can actually read the DNA signature of what's in there, which is really pretty cool when you think about it. So anyway, I'll let you off the hook. My rant, it's not a rant, it's a joyous shout out to a really momentous thing, which is that I've lived in Washington really since the 70s. before a lot of people were born on this call and all. And finally, the football team has hope again, because I mean, I went through Sonny Jurgensen and Joe Gibbs and Riggins and all that. And then it's been a long, long dry spell. And finally, they changed their name. Finally, they got rid of the really toxic owner. I like your comment, Tom. And now we have a team, and the quarterback, Jaden Daniels, was just named NFL Rookie of the Month. So there's hope. Things can be really bad, but things can also sort of turn around. So I'm really excited to be watching football again, and maybe, in fact, have a winning team. And I think they're 4-2 right now. So it might work out. You never know.